official start stuff. Oh man, he normally goes through like the notes and stuff. This sucks. God damn it,
We can go through the notes.
All right. Oh. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Nerds and Words. I'll be your host today, back again, Tim Allen 1337, and today we have got a little bit of a different lineup. As always, though, joined with Moreland TV, the man who has never missed a podcast.
Hi!
Returning guest and local flavor, Biohack. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for bailing us out. And the upgraded version of Potion Shop TV this week will be the new GM of Black Rose, Misery.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Welcome, welcome. So as always, first off, actually, Moreland did a wonderful job hosting last week. Thank you so much for doing that for me. I took a week off for a little mental health, and I am back, and I feel great. So thanks for holding down the fort for me, guys.
No problem, Tim.
So how was your week, Moreland? How'd you do, buddy?
It was okay. I pretty much didn't play BDO at all. I've been doing a permadeath Subnautica run through. I started playing No Man's Sky because everyone's talking about this new update, and all I could think about while playing No Man's Sky was how much I wanted to play Subnautica. So I just ended up playing permadeath Subnautica for the past few days, and it's not been going well.
Been dying.
Yeah, I lost a 12-hour run to a glitch.
Oh.
And then I lost the run after that to just lacking brain cells, like just having a serious deficit of brain cells.
How many
in real life?
How many embers are you up to? I know you said you hadn't played, but
I have the same amount of embers I've had since the second day of Odalita, which is 10.
Oh. Cool. All right, Biohack. How was your week?
I can't complain too much. I've been tapping Penturos belts for dono goals, so I've hit it 3 times now, all of which have failed. I'm now at 18 pen accessory fails in a row, which kind of sucks, but wow. Such is life. Other than that, I just hit 27,000 quests done, so Rulupi is feeling very, very close.
Wow, you're knocking that out. What are you doing, like 3,000 quests a week?
I'm trying to get like 1,000 quests done every 4 days, which is what I've been averaging for like probably the last 3,000 or 4,000.
It's just like a couple hours a day, right? That doesn't sound too bad.
It's like I'm getting like a little under 50 quests an hour. I'm not very sweaty about. Yeah, I'm not very sweaty about like trying to be really fast. I mostly just like watch YouTube or Twitch or whatever while I do it. So I could get more done if I was like, instant excelling my horse everywhere and being really fast about it. But yeah, it's probably like 5 hours of questing a day to get 250.
Very cool.
50 an hour. Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, I've done all of the easy quests in the game, right? So I'm stuck doing like only the ones that are kind of not the greatest.
Which, like, what? What are the ones you give us an example?
I've been doing Kama, Dregan, Odalita, Star's End, like the main storyline, and like the side quests that I like in those regions. But compared to like running around Alpheon City, that's like really slow. It's not that high. It's like 413.
Oh yeah, that's casual, dude.
Well, I mean, like before I started doing any quests, it was already like 400, so it hasn't moved hardly at all from questing.
If you say so. 400 to 413 is a lot of movement.
I mean, I guess not since the buff though. Garoshi's at like 501 in my guild, so like
Jesus.
Compared to everyone else, like
yeah, compared to everyone else being Garoshi.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Miz, how's your week? How you been, dude?
Not bad. I was planning to be grinding Turos all week, but I got my flame drop on Sunday, so that was cool. And I've been playing Phasmophobia and PvPing a bit here and there.
I keep hearing about that.
It's a ton of fun. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for something to play kind of casually on the side.
You want to play it with friends, right?
I would say so. I don't think it'd be fun with randoms.
Yeah, people play like Among Us with randoms.
I could never, dude.
Like, what the fuck is that?
And like in text chat, dude, I feel like all the Among Us memes are, it's a completely different game that everybody who makes these are playing.
Dude, the Among Us memes are so bad. That's the worst part of that game, is how fucking normie those memes are.
It's terrible.
I think they're fantastic.
Okay.
I love Among Us memes.
So I had a weird week. I didn't talk about my week the week before because I had kind of a fucked up week outside of BDO and stuff. So my sister lives like 4 hours away and has 4 kids. And so I went up and stayed with her for like 4 days and just kind of packed a bag and left and didn't really tell anybody. Like I was in the car driving and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be here for the podcast this week. And so I got to play Nerf guns with my nephews and went out and partied with my sister a little bit and stuff. And really just, she's like a Reiki. I don't think she's a master, but she's like really into Reiki and stuff. And so that was cool. She Reiki'd me.
You got Reiki'd?
I got Reiki'd multiple times.
I've always wanted to get Reiki'd.
It's really cool. It's like a massage without like rubbing. Like you just put hands on somebody, like on their head or something. And then it's like religious without religion. Like there's a little prayer, but to the universe kind of thing. So it's an interesting experience, but yeah, I got home a couple days ago and got my BDO stuff's been in disarray since I raw tapped a Pen Blackstar attempt to try to one up Marlin. And so it's still try, but I'm grinding towards it. I'm almost done with the grind to get to buy a Tet Blackstar back after failing 56 times in a row.
You failed it 56 times? Holy shit, that's really bad.
Yeah, for Tet.
Holy fuck.
I'm literally out of mass. Like, I had to stop because I had to save some for Dead God. So, I've got stacks coming out of my ass. I took my 199 stack to a 200 stack by failing Pen Crescent. So we did that this week.
I've done the same thing, actually.
Yeah, so I finally created my Season 2 character because I finally hit 40 days on Season 1. So that was cool. But I've got my life skills in order. I'm grinding actively again, and I'm, rightly back into BDO and in a good state of mind and trudging forward. So thanks again, everybody. A lot of people enjoyed the podcast without me. It's been fun talking about it. I enjoyed listening to it. But so let's jump into Black Desert Online. The first thing, so we'll use Potion's notes here. So he's with us in spirit. We have no idea where he is this week. I think he just fell asleep. He's been streaming pretty hard. So the first thing he has for us to talk about is additional thoughts on Odalita. It sounds like last week that you guys, even by the title of the podcast, that Odalita is pretty dead content straight away. I heard that Kerr was saying that the hunting didn't have Manos built into it, stuff like that. Has another 7 days changed anybody's mind on Odalita, or is it still pretty fucked?
Well, yeah, so we actually got an update on the hunting thing, which is kind of part of why I didn't play BDO this week in general. We got this update on Tuesday. So first of all, like in the partner Discord, pretty much everyone in there who life skills or like cares about it was blowing up Cacao for an answer about this hunting thing. And even with all that pressure, it took them 6 days to get an answer to what's essentially like a one-line email. So that was very frustrating. It sucks to see that Cacao and Pearl Abyss still appear to have absolutely no communication with each other whatsoever outside of like whatever mandated weekly correspondence they have to fake. And so when we finally did get the answer, the devs literally told us that hunting in Odalita is intentionally worse than other locations.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so welcome to BDO and welcome to new content.
Why the hot fuck would they do something like that? Why do they keep doing this?
Wonderful question. I mean, it's kind of funny that they at least acknowledge it, because like this is a kind of a historic problem with BDO, is releasing content that's obsolete on day one. But they sort of like said it out loud this time, like, oh yeah, we meant to do that, and it's just baffling.
Not to rehash, but can you elaborate a bit on that at all? I'm not super familiar with the hunting in Odalita.
So there's a few new hunting spots in Odalita. The actual like environment for hunting in Odalita is pretty sweet. Like it's an area I would like to do hunting. It kind of reminds me of like the Navern Steppe and Kama. It's this like open grassy area. I don't know. It's just like a cool place to gather. And there's wolves and there's a few other animals. And if the materials had a decent yield to them, then it could be competitive with hunting someplace like feather wolves, where you get a bunch of wolf meat and wolf blood, and it scales pretty nicely with your mastery. Now, any form of hunting is just objectively worse than gathering. It's basically the thing you do when you're low on energy, because it's slower than gathering in terms of energy consumption. So it's already not the greatest life skill in the world. It's kind of like a side thing. But with Odalita coming out, we thought that hunting might have some more viability with these new spots. They looked really good. The spawns are really dense. And for whatever reason, the devs have just chosen to not make them viable. They've chosen to purposely make it so that Feather Wolves is still the best spot. Some shit from 2017 is still the best hunting spot, and the new content in 2020 is purposely made worse. I don't really know what to make of that.
It's just doesn't interact with mastery, or what?
No, it's the base yields are lower. The mastery actually does work. Yeah, we've confirmed that the mastery does work. It's just that the base yields are set so low that it feels like mastery doesn't work, because you're only getting a fraction of what you would gathering if like something like a feather wolf. So yeah, I don't know.
So basically, it's the worst of both worlds. Like, you need mastery to make it shitty. Like, I mean, because if it had no mastery, you could say it like, at least when you're getting started and you don't have gear, like, go gather there.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, if it was like base yield but no mastery, then it would be a good low level hunting spot. But yeah, it's just bad. Like, the only thing it's good for is getting the breath of Narcion. So like, you go there because you have to in order to get your breath out of the way. And then once you have your breath of Narcion and you make your master match lock, you just leave and you never come back.
So it's
a chore. It's just essentially a chore. There's nothing enjoyable about it.
There was a couple of streamers that I saw that were like, "Oh man, I can't wait for Odalita to come out." And I remember a couple, 10 weeks ago or something, one of our podcasts, you guys were excited about Odalita, and I'm sitting here thinking, I really remember how excited we were for Dregan, and how I only go there for Garmoth, which is my least favorite activity in this game, bar none. So I hope this isn't another Dregan. You think?
I think it's worse than Dregan.
I think it's worse.
Really?
At least when Dregan released, Garmoth was a cool new upgrade. The boss fight was not the best, but it was at least something new and interesting. It was something they put work into. It was a cool fight, even if it was kind of tedious. Like, fighting a dragon in Garmoth's nest was pretty sick. And then, like, a lot of people meme on this, but Lakiaro I thought was like really good side content that was actually creative.
It was good money for a while too, if you're good at it.
It was very viable when it released, and it was like really interesting, side content for people who are into life skilling and into puzzles. I think Dregan was not a good expansion, but it at least had like a handful of things that made it interesting. Some of the nodes at the time had like some interesting trade-offs in terms of the trading economy and everything else. But yeah, Odalita, outside of like a couple of the grind spots, I can't think of any part of Odalita that feels like a success. The nodes are boring. The fishing tables are bad. The hunting spots are bad. I don't think there's really any good gathering rotations, maybe for the new sap or something, but
so
it just seems like the whole content is just a couple grind spots.
Potion said last week that there's one grind spot north of Odraxia that has 19 trees, and it takes 15 minutes for them to respawn.
Jeez.
But then he said he got 3,000 sap per hour, so I don't know what part of that was incorrect, but it was something. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like they actually doubled down on Dregan being bad, and they're like, no, hold my beer. We got this.
It's weird. I think that the grind spots, at least the ones that are grindable, are actually pretty decent, right? I mean, at Thornwood, people make pretty decent money there. The ring is actually like pretty good, and then Turos is like kind of a throwback to Gyphon almost, in the sense that they're like complex pulls, and there's like a sort of a skill ceiling for actually grinding there.
I think we did need a Thornwood.
I don't know if that's enough.
I'll agree with that. I think we did need a Thornwood, but grinding Turos is fucking awful.
I hate it, but I mean, some people like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hate it too, but I agree. Some people do like Turos. I'm fine with Turos, and I think Thormal was good. Like I do think those two grind spots were successful, even if Turos isn't personally my thing. But having I'm just imagining the hundreds of developers that worked on this for however many months or years, and for the result to just be some cool environments and two decent grind spots is kind of wild to me. There's parts of this game that are just so neglected and forgotten about. If you check the territory resource tab on the map, there's not even data for the new region. It's just empty. It doesn't even have bars for fishing or nodes.
And the Garmoth heart change is PvP ruining too. I don't know what your guys' take on it is, but I hate it. You have everybody running around wearing adamantines now because of this change, and it's just makes PvP so unfun.
Yeah, it's slow, lazy too. Let's just add another use for a boss that's been in the game for 2 years. We can't add a new boss. I
mean, I guess it makes people have to use dandies, so it's sort of an answer to the succession issue. But yeah, it is really lazy, and the fact that it just opens up adamantines for everybody to wear, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, a lot of people already don't like. We talk about that pretty often. A lot of people. There's one of the top debates is resistances bringing RNG into PvP. I'm a resistance fan, but I can see how that's unfun because that is kind of the go-to thing, right? It's just put adamantines in your boots.
I'm okay with it to a certain extent, but not when everybody has 80% KD resistance, especially when certain classes rely on knockdown as their only combo, Awakened Witch and Wizard, for example. Maybe a little bit less Wizard, but Awakened Witch, for example, the only long combo we have is a knockdown. It makes it pretty much impossible to secure kills on people.
I hear what you're saying, but isn't that also karma for witches and wizards having too many goddamn resists this entire time anyways?
I don't know if I want to get into the whole class balance debate, but just in general, I don't think anybody enjoys KD resistance.
That's one thing. I mean, sorry, this is a little bit off what you were talking about, but one thing that I do like about Odalita is I feel like the new items that came into the game are pretty interesting. Fallen God definitely adds new goals. I really like that the Merchant Ring is now acquirable, and the Turos belt and that kind of stuff is pretty good.
I feel okay. Yes, I like the new items, but I don't feel like the items are really have anything to do with the expansion. They could have put the Fallen God or the Merchant Ring pieces anywhere. You know what I mean? There's nothing. Yeah. Odalita didn't bring anything into the game. They've been adding new grind spots all over the place. Stars End, Sakraya, Kertuga. They've been adding new spots and new items, and that's fine. That's always good when they do that. It's just a more or less they just added the next new shit in Odalita because that's where the space was. But I don't feel like Odalita brought those things into the game. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that.
I actually really wanted to talk to Potion Shop this week about Turos because I feel like if you combined all of his crazy ramblings of things that he wanted from grind spots over the past 21 weeks and jammed them into a grind spot, it would look dangerously close to Turos. I want something that the pulls aren't really easy and the mobs hit hard and it's not a billion things, but then a boss comes in and it's got mobs and you have to impress him by killing the mobs before you can kill him, and he's got an increased chance to drop the loot, but then there's a really cool thing that you can only get there, you can't buy on the marketplace, but there's also you can get 100 of them when you're grinding too, but you have to do it with friend because this game needs group content. And
the boss has a secret drop where you have to be standing in a certain spot, and if you're not standing in that spot, then it doesn't work.
So he's got to be fucking forearm hard over Turos. Because they literally just took notes on all of his We thought that they weren't listening to us. Turns out they're laser sharp focused on Potion Shop and his ramblings on grind spots. So we all thought he was a little loopy. Turns out he's a fucking genius.
There are a lot of people who like who like Turos. I don't understand it, but there are a bunch of people in my chat who've been saying how great of a time they've been having grinding there. So they got it right for somebody.
I'm doing okay. I like it just fine. I did 4 hours before the podcast with Big Bad Nips. and he got his 100 embers. I'm up to 31, and I'll be like, I'm not gonna grind it after I get my 100 or my drop, but like I'm making enough coin to cover my tent buffs. It's interesting, it's different, it's a little difficult, and it's a reason to do a group grind. Except, you know, it'd be cool if it was like 250 mil an hour though, and kind of gave Stars End a run for its money with, like, you know, hey, I'll go do Stars End, but it's toxic. Marlon throws me into mobs. Or you and I could go over there, buddy, McFriend, pal, and do a duo grind for like an easy 250 mil.
I think the money at Turos is actually probably fine. What makes it unfun for me is just the rotations and the pulls, particularly as like a melee class. It's just so tedious having to stand exactly in the right spot and like try to trigger the spear thrower to go into melee and having to wait for the mobs to behave properly.
Stunned.
Yeah.
But it's so different. I kind of like it. I don't know if I'd like go back there all the time. It's, even if it is currently actually 250 bill or whatever the case is. You know,
belts are starting to crash.
Are they crashing already?
Yeah, I mean, I was buying them for like 330, 340, and now they're down below 300. So people must like it enough to keep grinding it.
Well,
I think most people have not gotten their flame yet. It'll be like, you got to think of how the average player, even, you know, with good gear, is playing this game. They're not grinding Turos for like 50 hours in the first week. It'll take a while for people to really get all their shit done.
I wasn't planning on doing it, but it turns out I'm pretty carried on the Ember drops. I've only been there like 6 or 7 hours, and I'm already a third of the way done. So I'm okay with it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's pretty great being Tim Allen, I'm not gonna lie. Why is that funny?
You're just a funny guy.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any last thoughts on Odalita before we fucking move on? That's crazy about hunting. I can't believe that.
You guys want to talk about the lack of player housing in Odalita? I didn't think so.
I haven't even looked. Although I checked the actual Odalita town, and there's one chain of buildings, which is like crazy low for, like, they didn't even bother trying to. There is a tool workshop. I'll give them credit for that. You can now craft your cooking tools in Odraxian instead of Glish, so that's kind of nice. Other than that, they just like literally didn't even try with workshops or buildings or anything else. Like, are the houses actually dog shit as well?
I'm not somebody who does player housing stuff, but I looked at them. There's 5 buildings that you can like rent out there, and they're all like really tiny and rickety. Like I think the aesthetics of the area are really cool, but they're not these big like fantastical houses and stuff like they had in Trigan and Camisylvia.
I don't understand that. If they're going to make this cool, spooky, big-ass city, why don't they allow you to buy like a big-ass, spooky gargoyle mansion?
Yeah, I don't know. There's like one that looks like a church kind of, but it's really tiny. I don't know. It's weird. I'm very surprised with how much effort they put into the aesthetics of that place that they skimped out there.
Yeah, I agree.
For somebody who doesn't do the housing thing, you have a lot of opinions about the different cities and the housing there.
Listen, man, I just know how to market. Okay,
just own it.
Have you seen some of the houses in Grana, dude?
Me? Yeah.
There's some people who go ham on housing in this game. Like we joke about the furniture sales. Some people buy that shit like big time. Obviously. And they spend hours and weeks and years decorating their fucking mansions.
It's no joke.
Next on the list here is Halloween appearance update. Are we really talking about load screens? Is that what he wants us to do?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
I don't either. October events. We'll roll into that. So there's quite a few events going on. What?
Didn't they add some like Halloween decorations around the map?
There's currently.
Is that what he's talking about?
Cobwebs in Calpheon City.
Oh yeah,
like there's
probably.
a skeleton and pumpkins sitting around, and there's like, yeah, who's this guy? There's this like pumpkin-headed scarecrow guy standing by the marketplace.
Yes, let's discuss this. Events.
Probably good for frame rate.
Autumn Leaves is the worst event. We talk about what the worst event is all the time, but I'm pretty fucked off with Autumn Leaves, man.
I was a little stunned when I read the patch notes this week. I kept asking chat, like, what am I, where's the events? Like, where's the page? Is there a missing page here? Like, I had to read the Autumn Leave event 3 or 4 times before I sunk in that, like, no, that's it. There's just 50k leaves. That's it. You don't turn them in. They don't do anything. It doesn't. You can't even fish for them. It's like they excluded fishing, dude.
They really are mad at fishing in this game for some reason.
They're so not willing for fishing to be more than 30 mil an hour under any circumstances, or 2 mil an hour AFK.
They almost didn't give us kois this year too, right? Like they're really fucking mad at fishing. Yeah, so Autumn Leaves when you're grinding for Turos is terrible. It's infuriating. Because it looks like a flame.
An ember, yeah.
It looks like the thing that you want, and it pops up, and it's like, hey, 50,000 silver. It's like, come on.
It's Halloween, dude. It's in the spirit. They're making you mad. Think about it.
Is that what Halloween's about? Making people mad?
Yeah, it's a trick.
Trick or treat. You're getting tricked.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And the 50,000 is my treat?
Yep.
Cool. Is that the only thing we got? The Twitch drop events is still going on. Which
do you guys remember when you were a kid and your paranoid white people would tell you not to accept candy on Halloween because there would be razor blades inside of it? Do you remember that weird myth that was always spreading around?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel like the Autumn Leaves event is.
That's a real thing in Florida, by the way. The razor blades and apples and shit. Potion Shop just came into chat and said, fuck.
Hi, Potion.
Hi, Potion. We miss you. There's probably a clip of me going on a rant about how much you love Turos. I'd love to hear about that next week. So I'm sorry. The leaves in BDO are white people putting razor blades in apples. Is that what you said?
I'm not saying the white people are doing it. I'm just saying that
they were afraid of it.
Yeah, that was the weird I don't know.
I kind of think of fear of razor blades transcends race.
I just think it sounded like one of those weird Facebook forward messages, that only my 80-year-old grandma falls for, but somehow it became common knowledge. So you were saying that's actually a real thing? People just randomly stick razor blades and stuff?
Yeah, some people want to hurt kids.
No, it's not.
I just don't think that's true, but if it is, then those same people are designing events in BDO. That's what
in apples. Halloween. I'm going to Google this. Anyway, so the events suck. We have Twitch drop events where everybody gets 10 crons. I'm kind of surprised at the viewership still being pretty spiked on BDO for 10 crons.
Dude, it amazes me constantly how excited people get over really useless, trivial shit in this game when it's free.
100 crons, maybe, but 10?
One time I went to the mall and Haagen-Dazs was giving out free samples of ice cream. So probably a $2 value. And there was 300 people lined up.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. People will wait in 8-hour lines to get $2 worth of shit. It's ridiculous.
We do have Dark Rifts. We have a couple extra Dark Rifts. Those are always nice. Halloween themed background and music. Wonderful. Okay.
There's no Horseman event this year. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Speaking of the rifts.
And then we're getting. Have you guys done your 100 silver Shakatsu box yet? It just came out.
Oh no, I need to do that.
Yeah.
Wait, doesn't the Shikatu box come out in 4 hours.
It just
you have to relog.
You have to relog, and it's only out for four more hours. Along
relog.
with the you just go to the character select screen. So there's a 50% like J scroll thing, and then there's a Shakatu box. I got a Prime Manos ring in mine.
Wow, that's money, dude.
That's kind of boosted.
500 mil.
Damn.
Are you gonna slam it?
I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about it. I kind of could use the 500 mil.
I started enhancing Monos gear again right before Odalita, thinking that hunting was going to be good. And I forgot how fast your money goes away when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Also, what are those things called? The black gem, the black fragment. What's the name of it?
Black gem fragment?
Black gem fragment market. Did you guys check that?
Is it tanked or is it spiking?
They sold out.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we got the next Blade Bow quest somewhere.
There's only like 17,000 on the market. I sold quite a few of them, but they still haven't bottomed out again. There's none min listed. I thought that would never happen. Did people freak out about hunting that much in Odalita that they... I don't understand what the run on this suddenly is.
Maybe people are just not gathering as much because they're busy grinding the new spots, and none of the gathering in the new region's good, so no one's gathering right now. I don't know.
Neither, but I offloaded about half of what I had.
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask, do you need them to upgrade the new musket?
No. It's just they're still just used for the regular shit, just for upgrading Monos gear.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Other events, the attendance events and stuff are pretty nice. That there's a lot of Pearl stuff. I think today we got like a 20-day comma or whatever.
Chat's saying people are gathering Caphras now instead of meat, and so like there's a lot more chi trapping and a lot less meat gathering, so there's less black gems. That makes sense.
Oh, I'm gonna stop.
Because you kind of have to gather your own Caphras now if you're like serious about getting a ton. I think they're somewhat difficult to buy at the moment.
Yeah,
I mean you can still probably buy like 200 of them a day if you refresh your order constantly.
Yeah, but imagine you're someone who like procrastinated for Dead God, and now you need like 6K Caphras or 8K or whatever it is for your dim tree, and it's like you got some trees to chop.
It's getting worse by the day. I think when the patch hit, it was like 10K orders or something. It's up to almost 70K now. We're like one of the only regions with Caphras markets left, from what I understand.
EU still has them sitting on the market, I think.
Yeah, I've heard that. I think it's like Taiwan, MENA, KR though are all like way worse than us.
Yeah, but that's always going to be true because EU is the best life skilling region, followed by NA. The other people have no fucking idea what they're doing.
Yeah,
not rude, but they're terrible at life skills.
Wow, that's racist.
I mean, when your Valencia meals are selling for 100K, everyone who plays on that server is bad as shit at the game. Like,
oh my god, dude, that makes me want to
reroll. So, Miz, what do you think about the new guild roles?
I think it's awesome. The only complaint that I have is that Advisor can't regular CTG, but we had like a big discussion about it when it first got announced and all the speculations and stuff, and you can unassign it and reassign it on a dime. So it's really awesome, especially for big guilds, because I can have somebody who's really active at the hours that I'm not as the advisor during the week. And then if there's somebody who strategically needs the role for Node Wars and Sieges, I can assign it to them.
So it's just one? You can only have one advisor?
Correct.
I
don't really understand this Cannoneer role. It doesn't seem like it does anything important, but the advisor role is fantastic. It's just 4 years late,
They said in the patch that the Cannoneer role was basically just like for acknowledgement, like it's just like an icon. It's not. I guess it's not really supposed to do much. It's just supposed to like set you apart.
Yeah, because on the little graphic they gave us, I don't think it had anything over Quartermaster in terms of like the abilities that it has.
Yeah, they literally said like it's just there to give recognition to people who do cannons.
Whatever.
But they also said there would be more for the role later, so who knows if that's coming or not.
To be determined, I guess. Maybe they're giving us more siege annexes that don't do anything.
The advisor can disband the guild. All rights excluding disband guild. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
So
can they touch the elephant gear too? I know. Okay, that's actually a really cool change too. They made it so that officers can't remove the elephant gear from the elephants. So not that this was like a big problem, but it's happened to people where you get officers that get pissed off and they delete the elephant gear or something and dip.
The advisor can use guild crafting, yeah.
Okay.
But they can't do the auction house. So you have to buy the house and then they can do the crafting. Yep. I remember that. I got in trouble in Aftershock because I was bad with that.
Mm-hmm.
What does the guild auction house do?
So you can craft gear for elephants.
Oh, okay.
And boats, right?
Yeah, and boats, yeah, I suppose. Okay, so that's cool. What do we got next? Milk cows in Kama.
Cool.
I haven't tried it yet. Have you guys tried it?
Milking cows in Kama?
Yeah.
Do you think they feel different in Kama?
I don't know. Maybe they have different yields or something. You never know with this company.
I was thinking about going over there to see that, but the cows in Olvia milk just exactly the same way as the ones in Calpheon.
So it's the same as Olvia, but they just... Do you think the new spot, they just moved cows and it's the same thing?
I think they just put cows in Kama.
Yeah. It's probably just so people who life skill out of that region don't have to go across the map to do it, I guess. I don't know.
That seems thoughtful. I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that was nice about Adraxia, too, is they did do Imperial turn-ins there, so they're doing a good job of... Because more and more people are starting to do those turn-ins, they're doing a good job of making it less terrible to get the turn-ins every day.
There's no regular trade manager, though, so if
that's really weird. I don't get the logic on that one at all.
Bro, someone at Prilibus just despises fishing. Like, they just want it gone from the game.
I think they just have egg on their face about not being how long fish spotting went on. You know, I think they're just afraid of it now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or they've got a beat on. You know, like there's a new fish spot out there that they can't fucking handle. Sell all junk button. Quality of life that honestly probably should have been out in release of this game to catch up with every other MMO that's released in the past decade. So that's cool they added that.
I mean, this is good stuff. Like, it's definitely stuff that should have been added a long time ago. But like the guild positions and the sell junk button, like a lot of this stuff is the result of someone actually paying attention and like wanting to do a good job. So I think they deserve some credit for that.
Yeah, they do.
I could agree with that.
So
I was kind of paranoid about the sell junk button. I was worried that like it was going to accidentally sell your memfrags or something. Like, you know, how are they going to do this by item quality, or like are they manually going and adding like trash tags to items? I was kind of curious to see if something was going to break, but so far I haven't heard of any catastrophes, or at least people haven't noticed if their shit's getting sold that's not supposed to.
So I mean that's pretty much it. I think we're gonna get more Halloween and October themed events as it goes on into the holiday season here and move on to Thanksgiving and stuff. I'm sure we're gonna see lots of sales and shit like that. I think the only other thing we have is T9 mats for 100 silver as part of the 100 silver thing you can get in the Pearl shop under events, which has actually inspired me for the first time. I've got like 10 T8 horses just from like random boxes that we get all the time and stuff, and I have a outfit, so I'm actually getting my shit together, so when T10 horses come out I am going to be ready to go, be master horse trainer and stuff.
Have you seen the T10 horse in KR?
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks sweet.
It's nuts. It like actually flies.
It's pretty nice. You know the process of getting it, right? We talked about this, I think a few podcasts ago.
Yep, I have a nice little spreadsheet of it. I turned in 500 fairy wings and got enough for 2 T10 attempts.
So the bottleneck is going to be like a weekly quest thing, and I think right now they added a few more that you can get, but I think with artisan training it's like one attempt every 2 weeks or something, and it's a fixed 3% chance that you can't increase.
These fairies are going to be a bottleneck.
Is it so I remember when this initially got released, they basically said that there's like a few T10 specific skills that you get upon birth of the horse. Did that make it live where you're like RNGing on your T10 whether you get like a good skill or not? Or how did that end up getting fleshed out when it made it to live? Do you guys know?
I didn't dig that deep into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The wording was kind of confusing. We've only seen the one horse that's awakened, right? KR, so like probably limited information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way that it
people in chat are saying you get all the skills. It's not.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so you're not rolling multiple T10s.
Oh God.
I'd see you in 5 years.
Jesus.
Right.
So I'm just gonna buy the opposite sex Pegasus that I need, and then just sit on it until this comes out in 8 to 10 months. People in chat were making fun of me for preparing, like getting my shit together. They're like, "Why? It's coming out next year." And I'm like, "Well, people who waited to do their C10 chess right now are probably not feeling too good." So,
I mean, the Pegasus market's already been cleaned out for weeks now, hasn't it? Like, I think it's pretty damn hard to buy any Pegasus at all right now.
Cleared out before the T10 even got announced?
It was cleared out, but like if one got posted, it wasn't hard to buy it. They would you didn't have to like watch the timer and spam refresh, and like I think it was if you actually wanted to buy one, I think that they were available to buy eventually. Right now, I think people are like being sweaty and camping them on cooldown.
I'll get one. Don't worry.
Aren't they pretty profitable to craft if you're willing to spend a few bucks getting the right skills?
Yeah, if you pull out your wallet, training horses in this game's always been decent pay to win.
They sell for like
used to be insane. Used to be the best pay to win in the game back in the day.
Yeah, I'd still be surprised if it's worse than like. It's probably. I mean, I bet it's selling better than selling costumes. Obviously, there's a big component of RNG to it, but yeah.
Not with T9s though, because you just reroll the Courser Spirit till you get max skills, right?
Yeah,
that's one of the nice things too. Is it eats that RNG out. That was one of the worst things with T8s.
So I'm excited for T10. Even though it's like super time gated, that prize is worth going after. I think that thing's neat.
Yeah, it's worth going after. I just wish there was a way to overload the materials, or I don't know, just something to get a more than 3% chance, or if it is going to be a fixed 3% chance, allow me to farm multiple attempts instead of having to sit and wait in between failures for weeks.
I think
it's a marketplace purchasable item or no?
Some of the things
it's like a quest item. Yeah, the big bottleneck is I believe it's strictly a quest item, and it's on like a weekly cooldown.
Yikes. I'm gonna have to start doing Lakiara though, like that drop that comes from.
Yeah, dude, I'm prepared for that.
Yeah, dude, it's serious. I mean, I want to say this again because I feel like you really didn't internalize this. I turned in 500 fairy wings, and I got enough in return to make 2 of those. 20 of those feathers. So that's 2 attempts. 500 wings is a lot of grinding.
Man, can I actually make a Lakiaro guide and get views now? I've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Is anyone else here going to be doing Lakiaro? What's the plan? Bio, are you going to be out there gardening?
Why do we need to do Lakiaro? I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to do the math on T9s. Sorry.
For T10 attempts, you either have to have a bunch of fairy wings or you have to do Lakiaros.
Yeah, I don't know. I might.
I think that's going to be
depends on what other goals I have to go for.
I think that's going to be the real bottleneck, not the weekly.
I don't know. I have it when I looked at it, I'll have to take another look, but it didn't seem. You said you turned in 500 wings.
500. It took a while. and I got like 10
I
or
thought there
13.
was some other alternative.
It's Lachiaro. I got 10 or 13 T3s, and then I got 2 T4s, and then I already had a T4.
Oh, the Lachiaro item can post them in the market, so that's kind of nice. It's a little bit more silver for people who are actually out there digging.
Yeah, you can post the feathers, I think, actually on the marketplace, but it's gonna be, I still think it's gonna be, you know, pre-ordered and stuff. But so Global Labs, I think, had a pretty big patch this week, or was it last week? It's all kind of moving together here. Horse racing rework, really? Again?
Talking about the bond skills or the skill add-ons?
Well, the skill add-ons came through this week, right? On the Global Labs. They're doing something else to horse racing, which I could not be fucked to read. They're making Pudarium, however you pronounce that Dark Rift bird. They're making that even harder, I guess, with a special box, it looks like. Couple of sea monster changes, some knowledge changes, but the big thing is the class changes with they're normalizing skill add-ons, it seems. And
oh yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
So there's 24, it looks like. 24 different things that you can do, and some of them are like air attack and critical air attack damage, critical hit damage, chance of down smash, you know, bleeding, all DP, all evasion, increase and decrease, PvP attack, increase and decrease, stuff like that.
So is every add-on available for every skill now?
They're homogenizing everything, and then they're making the numbers based off of the cooldown of the skill. But I think that's based off of like either the non-absolute or the absolute version and not the succession version. So there's some of them that are a little wacky. Like Frigid Fog gets like 30% crit rate or something.
Wow.
Which is kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like kind of a shotgun approach to balancing it. I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. One thing the game does definitely need more of is down smash on every single skill. So,
dude, they added knockdown chance to a lot of skills too. It's like 5 or 10%. So you could just have.
Good thing I've got those adamantines in my boot now with this new girl.
More RNG and PvP. I can't wait.
So do you put down smash on your down smash skills so you can double down smash?
Hell yeah.
I think that works.
Because you know it's not going to add. It's not going to stack the chance. It's a separate chance to down smash.
Yeah, it's 2 separate rolls of down smash on one skill, and that's going to be dope.
Yep. So Mystics, by the way. Lawns, by the way.
Or Rangers that are 3 screens away.
Oh my god.
You guys aren't even talking about the worst. The worst part of it is the attack speed and movement speed slows that they're adding to everything. So you're just getting more and more slow stack, and the rates of them are going up higher. I've seen as high as I think 10% on some skills, which, you know, stacks with everything. So that'll be fun.
Fuck.
People love slows in this game, right?
I think I'm just going to reroll Sork finally. I've been waiting for a reason to do it.
Have you?
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I like the idea. I think that skill add-ons have long since been ignored and need to be revisited. I don't know that I like the approach.
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure they needed to be reworked. I mean, hopefully this starts like this on Global Lab, and then they actually use Global Lab as a Global Lab, and they tweak it and fine tune it. I really don't want like just a shotgun auto balanced based on cooldown system that adds down smash to everything put into the game. But hopefully they get some feedback and do something smart with it.
I kind of get scared with this stuff. I feel like it's me trying to fix a car, where it's like I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm also going to break something else while I'm fixing the car. You know,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not to mention, it's so like I don't know how they're going to streamline the updates with the bond skills in this, but it's kind of a lot of things in PvP that they're trying to rebalance all at once.
And it's been months of it too.
Yeah.
Like,
so we'll see.
15
along
weeks.
With you know, they're just like they're trying to make Awakens better and stuff like that too. I mean, their mind's in the right place. It's just whether or not the application's good, right?
It's all in the execution. And what's the epitaph of BDO? BDO, we were so close. We like saying that here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, our special guest this week's name is Alzergia, dude. That's right.
True. I'm not going to say that
though. Is there anything else that's happened in BDO this week that you guys want to talk about as far as patches or updates?
It's a pretty light patch. I'm trying to think. It's kind of a...
Yeah, I skimmed through here and I was thinking the same thing. We got a lot of stuff on the cusp coming, with really excited for the swap, the enhanced tagging,
Yeah,
system.
Korea got that, so that's actually happening. I thought that was going to sit on lab forever.
It works on nodes.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Do you think it's just going to be even more staff classes as a result?
That will be the death of the organized PvP scene.
Yep. I was trying to say this when it first came out to these guys, and they're like, well, not everybody PvPs, Tim. This is going to be a positive change for the game overall. And I agree with that. But
the problem isn't actually the tagging system. The problem is the class meta. You know what I mean? So it sucks that this is bleeding into that, but the tagging system, I love what they're doing with it. It's just unfortunate that there's this side effect because another part of the game is broken.
They restricted it in all the wrong places and let it exist in all the right places. Because didn't they say you can't use them in RBF and that type of stuff, but then they're allowing it in nodes and sieges?
Yeah,
that's so wild to me. Why not allow it in RBF? You already allow trials in RBF.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to turn in your Imperials and shit. So if you do any life skilling, you can't do it. Yeah, the
tag system is so cumbersome.
It shouldn't have been tagged or tied to the tag system at all. That's just them unable to let go of bad features that they add into the game. They're always trying to find a way to bring back broken shit that should have just been deleted.
Does anybody in Black Rose have a siege ult?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true for most siege guilds. Right, there's a lot of... Go ahead.
So my point being that even if it wasn't allowed, the tagging system wasn't allowed in Siege and Node, we have free coupons that came out with Season 2. We find out that this is coming. You have your homies that want a siege, go to Succession Wizard, and then they tag in their grinding class or what they want to open world PvP in. And then, it's still the exact same effect, even if they don't allow it.
I agree with that, but in practice, I mean, it's a lot of investment, and it deters a lot of players. Sure, some of our people that are really committed to the game and have the extra money that they don't mind spending because they want to play the class that they love, open world, but then still feel like they're not being a detriment to the guild. Or if their class just isn't viable in sieges, sure, that's all great for them. But this opens up the floodgates for almost every player to do it at a very reasonable cost. A lot of these players that have alt weapons, they're tet weapons, so they're losing some AP. They don't have Garmoths. They don't have 2 Garmoths now for those weapons.
Okay.
This is you know what I mean? Now you're going to have pen weapons and Garmoths and all that stuff for only a few billion silver.
That's a good point. I think overall it'll be, interesting and good for the game, but I think you're 100% accurate in saying that it'll be the death of organized PvP if it hasn't already been deathed.
I mean, we'll see. There's a lot of players in this game that just vehemently refuse to play Witch Wizard because they don't like it. So I really don't know. It could go one way or the other. Maybe there's enough people in this game that just really... the money is not the problem, and they just don't care, and they don't have fun, and they don't want to do it. But there will definitely be some people.
At the very highest level, the top 5 or 6 guilds, this is going to be a thing. But I think most other guilds are not going to have enough people with either the drive or the desire or whatever to fully take advantage of it. I think it'll be mostly a high-end siege problem. Probably won't affect Node Wars too much.
But then those guilds that come down to Node Wars and stuff during the week are all they could have all staffs, and it's going to be like fighting Cho, but every siege guild is like fighting Cho.
Yeah.
I'm going straight to Awakened Witch. That's going to be my tag.
I don't know what mine's going to be. I feel like I'm not going to be able to use it because my warrior has all my life skills on it.
What's your tag going to be, Miz?
I don't I don't need one. I have a Succession Wizard with 2,300 skill points, and then I have an Awakened Witch, and I haven't put in the time to play anything else. Maybe I'll play around with like Sork or something, but I don't know. I already play the meta, so.
Biohack only plays Archer, so I'm not going to ask him.
No, I think I'm going to tag a Hashashin maybe, but I want to do more testing.
You want to do more testing?
Yeah, I want to. Like, there's no. We don't have a trial character for Hashashin, right? What's that?
A Hashashin with your gear might actually be pretty disgusting.
I think it probably will be. He's got a pure evasion off. He's probably like the third best evasion class in the game after Kuno and Ninja. That's my guess.
Are you looking at Suck or Awakening?
I'm looking at Awakening. I really like the grab.
So let's.
If I wasn't gonna play Awakening, I would. If I wanted to play, if I was willing to play a non-grad class, I'd probably play Meiwa. I think Succession
that Hosh grab gives me motion sickness.
You'd play Meiwa?
I think Suck Meiwa with like my level of gear is actually busted.
I forgot about Suck.
I still hate the mobility, or not the mobility, but the clunky walk animations of the Hashashin. His like whole the physics of his walking animations are terrible. They're really annoying, but
the Guardian walk.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that Reddit clip where they put Hashashin W tapping side by side to another class?
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a different one.
Pretty interesting.
There's another one that was up recently where like your FPS determines like how quickly he stops or something. I didn't go through all the details.
Oh
of the
my
post,
God.
Probably true. That sounds
so
right.
Like his walking is actually determined by FPS. It's really clunky. It's really clunky. I don't know why they like made his like physics on his mobility so he just has like the worst momentum ever. They just need to turn that down.
Look at Mrs. Chair. That's a nice chair. You think that's why he's the new GM of Black Rose?
Isn't that how all GMs are selected?
I guess. I don't have that nice of a chair. I don't fit in those gamer chairs, though. Is your chair blue, Biohack?
Yeah. I have a really nice chair. Aren't the gamer chairs kind of a trap?
Yeah.
Bro, Herman Miller.
Do you have a Herman Miller?
I was strongly considering a Herman Miller, and I ended up buying the steel case Gesture, which I really like, but it was like almost $1,000.
I got this one for $600 off Craigslist, and it was worth every penny.
Yeah.
I got a fat guy chair off Amazon for $130, and I'm pretty happy with it.
When I bought my last chair, I was like, I'm going to buy this and have it last the rest of my life. I had a gaming chair before this that I bought for like $150 on Amazon, and it like fucked up my carpet and broke like 3 times, and I had to send it back and get new parts and stuff.
Oh,
these Herman Millers last like decades.
Yeah, same thing with this thing. This thing's actually got a lifetime warranty. So I was strongly considering Herman Miller. I was doing a lot of research, and that was my second choice, and I ended up going with this one, and I'm pretty happy with it.
We were talking about your chair, Miz.
Oh, I don't recommend Secret Labs chairs, and I'm down on the Herman Miller train when I'm done with this thing.
I like the meme of gamer chairs like making people really good at the game and stuff. I was theorizing that's why you're the new GM of. That's how you're selected as the GM of Black Rose.
Well, I mean, you saw Sasha's chair, right? My man had a racer.
That's right. He goes, "Boy, this guy can game." That'll be my last Sasha impression. So that was. I do want to segue into and I'll reintroduce Misery. Here is the new GM of Black Rose. So just a couple of questions about what's going on with Black Rose that will almost certainly dovetail into our first guess that really has anything to do or say about the Siege scene. So instead of Tim Allen just rambling about the Siege scene, I haven't really talked about it too much. So I've been out of it ever since Aftershock went kaputs. So I'd really love to hear about that. But let's start with Black Rose first. Sure. Number one, what happened to Sasha?
So, I mean, I think anybody that talked to him sort of saw this coming at some point. He's been kind of talking about needing to take a break and stuff for a while. I mean, you know, as with anybody who's been playing the game since launch, he's pretty much been in a leadership position in a Siege guild with very little breaks for how long has the game been out? 4 years, almost 5 years at this point. Like, it's a long time. And so the game, admittedly, especially for upper tier PvP, has gotten less fun over time. It's gotten more taxing. And when you couple that type of stuff with just spending as much time as someone like he did on the game, eventually you need to take a break and refocus yourself and make sure that you're making decisions that are best for you, right?
Is this a break, or is he donezo?
There is maybe some chance he'll come back to the game, but from what I gather, it doesn't sound like he's going to want the GM position back if he does.
Yeah.
So
this is your ship to run, huh? How'd you get the job?
We had a vote.
Did you vote for yourself?
I abstained. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if just looking at the guild, I'm actually the longest standing person in leadership at this point.
Oh.
So I mean, yeah, it's definitely some big shoes to fill. It's been interesting taking on all of the extra responsibilities and stuff. I had to pay the GM tax of buying a Pegasus, so I don't have shitty CTGs, hopefully. But no, I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and I feel like the guild has taken pretty well to it. I mean, even during our stint in T1s and stuff, Sasha, his graphics card shit the bed, so he didn't really get a chance to play. So I was kind of taking the lead on a lot of stuff when we were having that stint there. So I think a lot of the guild is kind of already used to me being in a similar situation. It's just, obviously, Sasha's a huge personality, so it's
even
definitely a bit of a shift.
Even when I was in Black Rose like 2 years ago, you were only in the guild for like a month or so, and you were always kind of being groomed as the backup shot caller and stuff. And I merked in for you a month ago or so, and your shot calling is almost passable now.
Almost passable? Not as good as yours, right?
No, mine's dog shit. I'm an old man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd been in the guild. Well, okay, if you count Vincier as well, because you got to remember.
Benchade! Say it right.
Yeah,
Benchade!
I'm not going to say it like that. I came from the Hexa side of that merger, but I think I was like the first one to leave to join BR from that side. So I had a couple months gaming with a lot of the guys in BR before that. I was probably in the guild for, I think, 3 months before you joined, but yeah, I think that's around when you joined was when I had just started learning how to shot call, and yeah, it's been almost 2 years at this point.
What's one thing you really want to change about the guild?
That I want to change about the guild?
Yeah, like structure or anything you want to change.
I won't. I'm not going to dodge your question, but I'll start by saying I think over the years, Sasha and I have. When I first came into the guild, I thought that I was going to come in with a lot of strong ideas. I thought Sasha was really headstrong and it let his anger get the best of him sometimes, just from an outside perspective.
Yeah, we used to talk about that.
So I think the more time that I spent here, the more that opinion changed. I actually grew to learn that he was actually pretty methodical in a lot of the stuff that he did. I'm sure he got mad sometimes, but I definitely started to trust him a lot more. I started to kind of we kind of just grew to be on the same page with a lot of things. So to be completely honest, there's not a whole lot, and this is kind of what I said when I took over, was I don't really plan on changing all that much. I don't know how transparent this was to the rest of BDO, but he was making a lot of strides to kind of mend some burned bridges and that type of stuff, and just in the interest of trying to revitalize some of the organized PvP. So I guess that's probably going to be my answer, is to just see what I can do with the relationships that I have and kind of what we have left, and try to get us and the rest of the server on a track where we can start having some fun on Saturdays, because it's been pretty miserable.
How is that going? Because yeah, like you said, it's been pretty miserable, and there was all the baggage from the mapping thing, and it seems like some guilds that you guys were fighting took that as like sort of an excuse to try to make you guys basically quit the game. Like it went beyond in-game rivalry to just outright like grief. Has that calmed down at all? Like, are other siege guilds interested in competition? Do they just want to rotate castles and get everyone else to leave the game? Like, what's your take right now on the overall toxicity or level of fun in the siege scene?
Well, I mean, oddly enough, I wasn't the only person that took over as GM for their guild on that day. The same day that I became GM, you had Gowie taking over for Filter, and you had Barcode Monsters step down as GM. He was the one that took over in that whole initial thing.
And then Vertex changed too, right? Scarletta.
Yep, not long before that, Scarletta took over, exactly.
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of leadership changes go on in these siege guilds in the last month or so. These last few weeks have been kind of stale, but I think that's just kind of a little bit with the expansion. You know, people want to take their castles to give their guilds a chance to grind for that stuff. I think as early as tonight, you might see a little bit of a shift. I am going in optimistic. I mean, you know, I've started talking with people that I never really would have in the past in terms of that type of stuff. And even then, behind the scenes, Sasha was starting to have some of these conversations with other people, because I think at the end of the day, when you put, you know, all of the shit that we've had against each other to the side, a lot of siege guilds just haven't been having a lot of fun on Saturdays. And I think every leadership core of siege guilds in this game understands that they have some level of responsibility to their constituents to give them fun, because if they don't, then we're not going to have a siege scene, because everybody's going to fucking quit. I mean, you already see it. It's not easy to get people to play siege. You have very few leadership cores that are willing to put in the work, which is why you have this consolidation of power instead of more siege guilds up and coming.
Right.
And on top of that, you just have less players interested in siege. So if we keep continuing down this track, it's not going to end with like one side winning. It's just going to be, we're not going to have a scene for people to participate in.
Everybody loses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there still a podcast?
I think Nari hosts something, but I've never participated in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm coming back to Siege tonight. Where should I merc?
I think you should hit up Dragoon.
That's not going to go well.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Why not, Tim?
We had a really tough conversation. The last political thing. It was like Corrupt and Black Rose were working together, and Aftershock was like trying to help too. And
I vaguely remember this.
And Dragoon and I had some words about each other's guild that probably stuck beyond Aftershock being dead.
I think Dragoon's a nice guy, and he could, even if it's not in Corrupt, get you involved in something fun tonight.
I think he's a nice guy too, but I'm worried. I'm a little scared. I think he might bite me. I'll do that though. Thank you for the recommendation.
Give me there too, Tim.
Yeah, you want to come with?
Yeah, I want to start sieging again.
How about you ask Dragoon if we can go together?
I don't have any of these people's contact information.
I left all the Siege Discords except for Black Rose. I was like, I'm fucking done with this. This scene's so goddamn dead. I don't even want to hear it from people. Package deal. Yeah, that's the only way I get anywhere, is if Moreland takes me along. Like his little buddy, he's a big gorilla. Where we going, Thunder? Okay, so I guess he kind of answered everything all at once. He didn't. So you don't want to change much.
I got some more questions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh.
I was just thinking out loud. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm just curious, like, what your take is on the more mechanical state of Siege. Like, obviously, the big topics that always get talked about are like the merc system and other things. But I don't know, just how do you feel in general about like the current tankiness of bases? You know, the merc system, the actual like. The sieging itself, do you feel like they're moving in the right direction at all? Do you think that there's certain things they could do that would be like easy fixes to bring more people into the scene? Because I'm sure you've thought about this much more than we have.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. The last like competitive siege that we had was probably that 1v1 with Snake, which was about a month ago at this point. And even before that, I mean, there just frankly hasn't been a whole lot going on in the scene. So my memory is a little bit hazy in terms of things like Annex health in Siege specifically, and exactly how that stuff is. But I don't think those types of mechanics are what makes or breaks Siege players, to be honest. They can tweak the numbers and they can do what they want. And it might make it a little more fun. I think I like that they took away the 5,000 HP thing and the whole castle streak thing. I mean, the idea of what that system was meant to accomplish was fine, I guess, but I think that what they settled on with this like 1,000 extra HP is probably better than that was. So that is a step in the right direction. I think, to be completely honest, it all just comes back to, I think for a lot of people, the same conversation we've been having for years now, which is protected area. And now I guess the slow stacking and stuff that comes along with succession mages. A lot of people just don't like PvPing that class. And when it is the predominant class in top end organized PvP, it just makes people not want to play in it.
Yep, I feel that.
So, I mean, it's not a siege mechanic that makes people not want to siege. It's the bullshit and class balance, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, I've seen them do a bunch of tweaking, like to respawn timers and things like that. So I was wondering if that headed in the right direction at all, because I haven't participated in Siege and lots at this point.
It makes the tempo a bit more fun. Right, because I mean, it's a maximum of 1 minute. So when you start, it's basically node war timers now. So there's less downtime. You get punished a little less for mistakes, which gives you more opportunities to do rebounds, which is kind of nice. It favors some guilds more and hurts more in others. So that you also lose the ability to make some of those really big plays, like some of the big ones that we've gotten to be a part of, are like some of those like 5-minute kills on multi CTG bases and stuff that we've seen in the past, which. Were nice highlights, but probably not great for the overall health of how the fight actually feels. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but we need to see a more competitive environment of people actually participating and with stakes in the game before I can give you a great answer on that, to be completely honest. I just haven't seen enough of it.
So stakes, that's an interesting part of Siege as well, because I feel like there's always been this balance in BDO where if the stakes are too high, then it almost backfires because people are unwilling to fight for the stakes. They just kind of script the outcome and nut cup. But then obviously if the stakes are too low, like people aren't invested and they don't want to participate. How do you think they can strike that balance?
Man, it's so hard to say because to be completely honest with you, I'm more of a life skill player in terms of money, right? So a castle to me doesn't really affect my income, and I think a lot of top end Siege players are moving in that direction, especially with how the market is developing. So I think the castle buffs are becoming less important, particularly with the other type of stuff. So I don't really know what the driving factor is at this point for things being like that, and I think that's why a lot of the Siege guilds now are starting to try to move in the direction of revitalizing this competition, in that I don't think the stakes are too low or too high at this point. It's a nice benefit. It's not like make or break. You can make a pretty reasonable amount of money just doing life skills and other stuff compared to castle buff. So I really do think that it's more on the community and on the scene itself to make it a more competitive environment than it is on Perlibus to make changes to the game to draw in players.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think the T1 scene thrived for exactly that reason.
It was so fun.
For the most part, the guilds participating in T1, they're not doing it for castles. They're doing it because they genuinely want good fights. And they're not trying to grief each other. They're not trying to script outcomes. Like, they're just there to have a good contest. And that was, super healthy and super fun until Perlibus came in and started tweaking those mechanics.
If you made Siege like T1 hards, it would be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of players who didn't get to participate in T1s are going to hate me for saying that. But the 6 weeks that we did T1s, I get that, there was mixed reception on it, just based on kind of what our strength was like with organization and stuff. But it was even like fighting Corrupt, who is another organized Siege guild, so much fun. And it felt like balance. Like, it felt like, even though we outgeared them in like normal in scenarios and stuff, like, it was actually a lot closer than it would be. The gear equalization for as imperfect as it was, just made the game so much more fun, and not having to play around PA for every single push was so much more fun. I think if you did something like that and just made Siege how T1 hards were, I think a lot of people would have a lot more fun.
You think the castle scene has a chance of like actually having fun and fun fights without more participants? And do you think that focusing on possibly fixing the Balanos and Serendia scene is an important part of that?
I think with the consolidation of power, it's so hard for a guild to come up at this point. The closest thing to it would be if you had these guilds like Brutal and probably like Spartan and other Digital too, other guilds like that have a lot of these like retired Siege players. If somehow those groups of players started becoming interested in sieging again, I think you could have a revitalization of the scene. But like if you wanted to try to bring back Aftershock again or something, it is so hard to start from nothing and get enough players to be able to compete with the top end Siege guilds now. Maybe you could revitalize your own scene within Balanos and Serendia, and that's a step, but the power has consolidated so much to the existing Siege guilds that it would be so hard for someone to be up and coming. And
that's exactly what it was when I did it.
Yeah, it's just like you how can you possibly recruit enough good and geared players to compete with people who have an established presence and have been doing it for months and years?
And we had some ringers and some really good players, and it didn't matter. It just did not matter.
It's not enough to carry the new players.
Right.
And then those new players don't have fun, and then they quit.
Yep.
I think it was more than just the consolidation of power, though. I think there was a certain amount of it was like the sportsmanship and attitude of other guilds as well. There was so much toxicity towards Aftershock when Tim was trying to build that guild. And like, I get there's always going to be some level of shit talk and whatever, but like people are talking about like people's IRL shit. And like, it was just so immediately over the top toxic that a lot of the people who hadn't participated in Siege before would come to one of those fights and white chat would just be fucking like beyond ridiculous. And they're like,
so
okay,
bad.
Well, why would I want to participate in this? Why would I want to play with these people? Like, there's no friendly competition here. Like,
fucking
there's no room
challenger.
for growth.
Oh my god.
As someone who's like totally outside the Siege scene and doesn't do it at all, like I know that there's like some cool people who do Siege, but like most of the people who do Siege I interact with are like pieces of shit. Like all of the people who like are seriously just like shitty people are all the like hardcore Siege players. Like I never meet like shitty life skillers. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Kerr's he's kind of toxic.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, that type of attitude, I guess, is people with that type of attitude are attracted to being in situations of power, right? And being a good player in a strong Siege guild puts you in a position of power. So it's no surprise. For what it's worth, I think the most important things are the directions of the leaderships of these guilds, because they're the ones that steer the ship and they're the ones that are going to make things change or not, right? So it's kind of up to our groups to really make something happen. And for what it's worth, I do think that things may be moving in the right direction. I mean, ask me again in a month and we'll see how my opinion is after that. But I think at the very least, we're aiming towards like potentially some type of honeymoon phase where we get some like interesting like competitive fights. But even then, I mean, with the number of Siege guilds we have, we can only fight ourselves for so long. There's only so many permutations of Siege guilds before we're running back the same fights that we've had. And just with the way that everything works in this game, I mean, like it's like a pyramid system. You have like the strong players want to join the strongest guild. Why would somebody with 680 gear score want to join the 6th best Siege guild or the 7th best Siege guild when they can just get into the best one? It's the same problem that's always existed in this game. It's on a more exacerbated scale at this point where it just consolidates and it's so hard for people to compete.
Yeah, man, the irony of this is like it's so interesting seeing 6 months after the kind of aftermath of Aftershock. Like I was saying this the entire time. Like every time we would have one of these toxic fights where we would get zerged down and spammed in white chat, I'm just like, this is self-defeating. Like do you guys realize that no one's going to want to play with you if you keep doing this? And now I think we've finally seen that come true. Like there's so few guilds left that I think they're finally, those who are left are finally waking up to the fact that like, hey, maybe we should treat this like a game instead of like fucking as this sweaty real life hurdling simulator. And more people will want to do it if we do that.
I guess I didn't realize how many guild leaders had changed, right, Sasha? I think even Sin being out of the leadership of Vertex or not being the GM is a massive change, because Vertex has always been a strong guild, but even Sin was probably one of the most political siege guys I've ever met.
Mm-hmm. To my understanding, he's still in their leadership, and they do have like a council style form of politics.
Yeah,
I'm not privy to exactly how they work, but
then Ryan was always really against working with other people in general. Like there was a lot of really cool opportunities we had back in the day with Filter and even fake FML or Challenger or whatever they were going by that day, using these guilds of opportunity that were obviously going to flame out, to actually work together. I pitched a couple of times, like getting the Balanos and Serenity guilds to work together so it could be like, there was a group A and a group B, right? It was Black Rose Barcode, Corrupt versus, Snake Joe, Vertex, Bassi, whatever that conglomeration was ever going to be. It's like, what if we just stepped in and was an agent of chaos? And man, nobody fucking wanted to. Nobody wanted to. Everybody just wanted to get their into the group A or group B and then get their seat at the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to say. I mean, Moreland brought it up before. There was obviously the whole like map drama thing, and I can't tell at this point how many people actually cared enough to the point where it influenced what they decided to do about that specific thing, or how much it was just an excuse for them to like a convenient way to say like this is.
Dude, it was 100% just an excuse for them to like justify their toxicity. There's a reason why a couple specific guilds took that and ran with it, and everyone else kind of just saw it for like, hey, they shouldn't have done that. But like, do we really want more people quitting the game and quitting the scene?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say for sure. Like, yeah, it's I mean, you're seeing the lasting effects of this type of stuff, I think, for sure. I don't know. It's so hard. I mean, it's got to be a collective effort from everybody to kind of turn the ship around.
It definitely can come back. I mean, I've seen this cycle in other MMOs, especially MMOs that have been around for a few years. Back in the Ultima days, there was always like times when the server was dead and one guild dominated everything, and then there would be a resurgence, and PvP would be great for a year, and then it would kind of die off again as leaders quit or whatever. So like, it's definitely a cycle. I think BDO's PvP could come back, but it just really comes down to if the leaders, the new leaders of these guilds are going to make that choice and make it happen.
This whole year's been rough. I mean, even when I was doing Aftershock and then the Siege podcast, I remember working pretty hard to try to make the Siege podcast relevant because there was just no relevant stories. It was just all the same. And then people that got on there were just kind of not
bullshitting.
Yeah, they were just bullshitting. They were just lying through their teeth. And so it's like, what's even the point of this? Right. And then it all just kind of fell apart in 2020. The organized siege, through the Merc system and the HP changes and I like to use the phrase, you can turn the sandbox into a cat box. That's basically what the siege scene did. They go, yeah, one wrong move and the dummy gets it. So it'd be, I'm actually really happy to hear that there's maybe some collaboration. To just have interesting fights. For all the times us in the podcast have said over and over again that that's all we really care about. It'd be nice to actually see that happen.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can't be anything but optimistic, right? Because if you go in with a pessimistic attitude and feeling like it's not going to work, then you don't give it your best effort to make it work, and you kind of just, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it just ends up like that. So we have to go in with all of these new leadership changes with all these guilds and see what we can make happen, or we're going to end up with a dead scene. And that's that's what it's going to be, regardless of what anybody says.
Well put.
What would it take to get you into the siege scene?
I don't know, man. I just don't really care for group PvP. Like, it doesn't get me excited at all.
Even with the prospect of just like smashing kids with 310 AP doesn't appeal to you?
No, because like I don't get any satisfaction out of winning a group fight. Like I feel like I don't know. Like I don't feel like I have much agency over it.
It's more about the camaraderie, I think, than anything else, and it just depends if that's something that appeals to you or not.
Yeah, man. There's nothing gets my blood going like screaming, "Hell yeah, brother! I'll drink to that." You know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. If it was easier to do, like if I don't know, like if someone comes into me and is like, "Hey, my guild is doing a node war in 10 minutes. Do you want to come?" Like that's the only node war that I've done. If it was like really in your face and I could just queue up for it, but I have to like figure out who to talk to and then have to go ask them, and it's like, shit, I got really big questions.
I remember you were gonna
have time for this.
You were gonna merc an aftershock for like as a consistent thing for a while, but it never.
Oh yeah, I was considering that. I signed up to merc with you guys once, and then the fight fell through, but I was almost there.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
There is a lot of networking
also, like,
for it, for sure.
Yeah.
What else about Siege? I don't know. How on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the impact of uncapped mercs is doing to the Siege scene? I know you're on the castle side of things and stuff, but I think it's such a egregious thing, especially for how long it's been going. I'm wondering if I'm just kind of stuck in my bubble and an angry old man, bitter from Aftershock days, or if it's still a problem with progressing Siege guilds.
I mean, I think with where the Siege scene has gone at this point, it's almost like a requirement, because like you can now make these like amalgamation guilds of people and potentially bring them to Siege, because there is no guild, barring, I think Brutal is the only one that I think has enough geared and like strong enough players to make a significant impact in like the castle scene right now. Just with the members in their guild. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, so sorry if I am unintentionally BMing somebody, but
Flat as Justice is furious.
But like it with that being how it is, I almost feel like it's a requirement, because you just don't have enough people in one guild to make something significant.
So you think it's a positive thing or a necessary evil, at least? For
castles, maybe. I'm so far removed from Balanos Serendia that maybe it's still a plague on Balanos and Serendia, and it's just not in my scope.
Fair enough. Fuck. I want more people on my side.
Yeah, I mean, it's for what it's worth. I mean, I can empathize with your frustrations from when that was a thing. I mean, I could see how that was annoying. You had that back and forth like every week, where like you got jam-packed with mercs one week and then you took the territory, and then the other guild came jam-packed with mercs, and it was just this like uncompetitive like shit talking nonsense. Like, yeah, that's not fun. Sure.
So I would get back into a balance, even though I have 640 something gear score. I'd still get back into Balanos or Serendia Siege Guild, because I just, those are like the fucking glory days to me. You know, you don't have to worry about the castle mechanics, or it's a 2v1 and we were in the castle, so now we have the advantage. But until they get rid of that merc thing, like it's just, hey, I'm gonna go roll over some idiots real quick. That doesn't really seem fun to me. But if, you know, getting together, like you were saying before, and camaraderie, and, you know, helping mold something to turn it into an organized PvP thing, I really fucking miss that. But I just don't think it's possible right now.
Well, what I will say is I do really respect the efforts of a lot of these T1 guilds that have tried to move up and participate in Siege. You have guilds, the ones that were really running the T1 Siege, or in like the hards on the T1s, have tried to move up, and I don't know, I haven't paid that much attention to it, so I don't know exactly how much success they're having, but guilds like Crawling Chaos, Frequency, War Torn, Sublime, Flat as Justice, some of these guilds, they are trying to step up to the T2 Siege scene, or the T2 scene. I have seen some of them get involved in trying to make fights and stuff happen on Serendia and Balanos. So I really hope that they can make something work where maybe it ends up just being a few 50, 60 man guilds showing up on Saturday in a place like Serendia and scrapping out and having fun. I respect that they're at least putting an effort forth into it, given that PA has destroyed the scene that they had. That was fun.
What is the attendance like for Siege guilds? You guys actually bring in 90 plus on Saturdays? Like minus mercs?
Yeah, generally speaking. You can usually get enough mercs to cap out a guild, especially if you know that it's a fight. I mean, honestly, the biggest problem is with how much the Siege scene is deteriorated is you almost feel bad reaching out to mercs to ask until you know you actually have a fight locked in. Because who the fuck wants to merc out for a guild just for them to place on something that's non-competitive? Like, why? Like, nobody wants to waste their time.
Right.
So there are a lot of people who are interested and do that type of stuff, but to mixed results. But you can usually fill up.
Any other questions or comments about Siege before we move on a little bit? Cool. I missed one thing on BDO before we move on to other games and stuff. Apparently, a paladin class has been data mined out of the game. You guys hear about this?
Oh yeah, people were talking about that in chat earlier.
That happened like a month ago, didn't it? Did we get more information?
I just heard about it. Apparently, it's going to be a female version of Valk.
Yeah, finally we're getting a female Valkyrie.
I thought that Valkyrie was referred to as Paladin on like mobile and stuff.
She is, yeah. The Succession Valkyrie, I think, is Paladin on BDO Mobile.
Are we sure it's actually a new class and it's not just like...
Yeah, it's like Hammer and Tower Shield.
Yeah.
Oh shit. It's a female class with a hammer and a tower shield?
So you could make it really short, Morlin, right? A hammer? You've wanted a hammer, just call it a dwarf.
Oh, I could give her thunder thighs and make her 4 feet tall and just play a dwarf. That's true.
Yeah, dude. Why aren't you dancing?
There you go.
Oh, is that your dance?
I'll have to see the outfit.
Well, you just
doesn't it feel
like 90% of the Guardian hype was because of her outfit. So it's all about that initial aesthetic, if they get that or not.
Just phone up the costume task force and tell them you got a job for them.
Did we get any like? Are you looking at the data mine? Like, is there any new information that came out, or is that just?
Potion Shop put this on the thing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We the Tower Shield and the Mace got data mines several weeks ago. I don't know if there's anything new beyond that, but yeah, I mean it's every 6 months, right? That's the schedule. So
I think a female Valk would be pretty cool, man.
I don't get why they're making so many like female Mace plus Shield classes. Like this will be the third one.
More tanky shield girls.
They just didn't have a female one yet, so. I don't know why they're making this class female. I hate gender lock classes, just in general, number one. But I have no idea why this isn't a necromancer. I'm fucking mad. So, now we have...
Dwarf necromancer?
Dwarf necromancer.
This game doesn't really lend itself well to pet classes, unfortunately.
Okay, Lifetime Witch.
Be a pet class.
It's coming from somebody who plays a pet class. It's pretty like one-dimensional.
What if they just did something outside of the box with necromancer? You know, like made it more of like a zoning class that drains life and is really hard to kill or something.
Yeah, they don't actually have to necromance. They could just be a fan of it.
Oh, I see. It's like bone armor and stuff. Would that appease you?
Well, as long as I can buy a Slipknot shirt in the Pearl shop as a costume, I think it'd be a successful class.
I can get
Maybe they could have a skill that decays enemy resistances, and then that would fix the RNG meta. Or they could dispel buffs, and they could be the counter to PA. See, there's all kinds of amazing things they could do with Necromancer.
I didn't know you were this idealistic, Morlin.
I should watch a podcast.
I would fix this game in 2 weeks if they put me in charge. I'd fix the whole game.
It'd also permanently ban me, so.
He did say he wanted to fix the game.
I just think it's so weird that Sasha gave Black Rose to somebody who's incapable of growing facial hair. I just can't get over that.
Listen, it wasn't his choice. I don't think he's happy about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. You guys, is there anything to talk about with other games? Let's ask Miz what other games he's been playing.
Bless beta?
Bless? Like Bless Online?
Bless Unleashed.
Yeah, I'll pass. I don't know. I don't know if I'll play another MMO personally. I don't regret my time in BDO, but holy shit, man. I don't know if I can do it.
Sasha just showed up in chat.
Oh, yeah? I can only imagine what he's saying.
He just did smiley, just laughing faces. Haha, XD.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been playing Phasmophobia quite a bit the last few days. I mean, I'm on all your trendy game kicks, Genshin, Phasmophobia, Among Us. I think, okay, for what it's worth, I do think Among Us, like, making a resurgence is fucking awesome. It's a great party game, even though it makes all of your friends hate each other.
There's actually a big update coming to Among Us. They are making it so you can hide votes and hide the taskbar, and then I think there was one other thing.
I think it was only those two. I played the beta. The anonymous voting is weird because it just grays out the people, like the votes. It still shows you the numbers, and then it doesn't work on skips. So you can see who skipped, but then you don't know who voted for who. But the taskbar thing is good if you play with a sweaty group that actually looks at that.
Taskbar thing is good, but I also feel like communications as a sabotage is now, like, it was already
useless,
pretty pointless, and now it's like just flat out pointless.
Yeah, the only application I really see for communication at this point then is it does disable the door sensors on Mira HQ. So if you have somebody who's being like a logs hawk, you can disrupt the logs, which if you're trying to vent around, I guess.
Yeah, or I guess if someone's like camping vitals on Polis, that has a pretty weird meta.
Yeah, and admin. Yeah, I mean the game has kind of devolved into like admin vitals logs. Like
that's why Mira's the best map.
Sure.
So Ashes of Creation, and I'm trying to pull it up on my Twitter, but they announced alphas for their game. There is going to be 2 NDA alphas, December 18th through the 21st, and then February 19th to the 22nd. And I asked, because I bought a $150 package for Ashes of Creation in May of 2017. And so since I saw that interview of this guy going, he's self-funding the whole thing and all that kind of stuff, I asked on Twitter if I was going to be able, since I spent such an egregious amount of money so many years ago, if I'd be able to be a part of these NDA alphas. And apparently I spent $100, not enough, to be invited to this self-funded game and their NDA alphas.
Open up your wallet, bro.
Yeah, 2017, Tim's money was way different than 2020.
I mean, they're probably doing you a favor. I think there's zero chance that either of these alphas are enjoyable. That game looks rough as fuck to me. And like, I'm not saying it won't be good eventually, but I don't think they have it figured out even remotely at the moment.
Alpha 1 is April 6th through May 6th, which will be no NDA, just kind of open to whatever. And then they're doing a preview, much like New World, in March 19th to the 26th for 1 week full wipe.
I'm kind of surprised they're doing NDA alphas. Hasn't been transparency been a big part of their messaging, and
this guy's
what
so full of shit, dude.
The game is going to suck so much dick in that alpha. Like, I'm not trying to be toxic, but it's not going to be good. Like, that's why they have an NDA. That game is just massive hype right now. It's got more hype than any game in a decade. They can't just show the alpha with no restrictions. Like, it would get eviscerated on YouTube.
Haven't they already had alphas for this game too, though? Like a year or two ago?
It was a different game, though.
Yeah, well, even their little battle royale. Look at what happened with that. What an embarrassment.
So, This guy's
It worse than Shadow Arena.
I think this guy's a con artist. I don't think this game's ever going to be anything, and I don't care if that's toxic. But I want to get into the NDA thing so I can get sued for breaking the NDA, because I 100% would. There's not an NDA I could ever follow for video games. It wouldn't work. So I want to get in that. What else was there? There was another game I wanted to talk about.
New World's like dead, right? We're not into that anymore.
Well,
New World's going to be a blast for 1 to 2 months, and then it will be a game that we probably pick up during big content updates, play it for 3 weeks, and then set it aside.
Wait, hold on. Here's the last tweet from New
World.
Worlds.
That's optimistic.
Did you have an exceptional company leader during the preview? In spirit of National Bosses Day, we're asking you to nominate your leader to be spotlighted. Why wasn't I on this? I was the second coming of Christ for New World. How am I not being nominated?
I guess we should probably have shouted out Zabby for
Not false. But I don't think they've really said anything. They've given a bunch of like mixed things with New World on what's going to happen for the next alpha. It's supposed to be like any day now. So it was early November.
I thought that game was supposed to be released.
They pushed it back by almost a year.
Jesus. Okay.
Which is not enough, for the record.
Yeah, it was the right call.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like that game said all the right things at TwitchCon 2 years ago, and then the product that they're like showing now goes against like literally everything they said.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had that game. They had an open world sandbox PvP game, and then they fired the guy who was in charge of it, and they turned it into the kind of weird thing that it is now.
Yeah.
So everything they said at TwitchCon was true at the time. It's just they got too much feedback from people who didn't like PvP, and they had to tone it down.
Yep.
So I'm still playing Star Wars Galaxies off to the side because that shit's so much fun. But
I've been playing Project 99 every night, leveling my druid, getting ready for Kunark.
Oh shit! Wow.
That's the state of MMOs in 2020.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm playing a game from 1999, and you're playing a game from what, 2001, 2002?
3, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Twitch community on mine though that's super fun, so I enjoy hanging out with those guys. I watch more SWG streams than I do BDO now, or Subnautica. Yeah, so the Subnautica run's going pretty haywire. Yeah, you think you're going to be able to do it?
I mean, probably, but I got to play more carefully. I need to start carrying around The problem is I should have been carrying around a spare oxygen tank, and I didn't because your inventory is so small in that game that it was going to drive me crazy to carry around an extra tank, and I died because of it. I literally swam into like a not deep at all wreckage and just got lost for like a minute and a half and died.
Did they add major content updates to that game, or are you just getting around to playing it?
No, I played it a year and a half ago and beat it, and then I wanted to kind of to put a new spin on it, give myself a reason to play it again, and so that's why I'm trying to beat it on hardcore.
Gotcha. It was a lot of fun when it came out. I played it.
It's still really fun. It sucks starting over though. And doing
I was gonna say like that game seems really fun, but a hardcore seems really dull. But
if I don't do hardcore, it's too easy. Like there's no balance. You know what I mean? There's nothing in between.
Your chat keeps coming into my stream and telling me that I should do a blind hardcore run of Subnautica.
Do you ever die in Subnautica because you it's fun watching you play like a hardcore Dark Souls because you fuck up a boss and you die. I feel like every death you could possibly have in Subnautica is going to be like something dumb, right? Like, could there ever be a death in Subnautica that isn't something dumb?
It depends on how well. If you know every single like mob spawn and everything, then probably not. I don't have as much Subnautica knowledge as I would need, especially after not playing it after a year and a half. There's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten, and the deeper that I go, like the more dangerous shit is. There's still like warpers that'll pull you out of your ship and fuck you up. and if like I'm playing to where I have to complete the game and scan everything, so it's still going to be pretty scary, like scanning the leviathans and shit like that. And there's definitely a lot of like risk to go in certain places, and there's for sure ways you can die that are not just bullshit. My first death was absolutely bullshit though. My ship just like glitched into the wall and I couldn't get back to it and I drowned, and that was pretty infuriating.
Did you guys happen to notice that there was a probably didn't, but there's a bunch of job postings for North America Pearl Abyss?
Is it just like marketing stuff? Like, what are the jobs?
I didn't look up all the listings, but there's a spam of them for North America Pearl Abyss. Just I might have to go look up what those positions are. If it's a bunch of community managers or something,
I think that's all they do in North America. They don't have any like developers out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. I don't know.
I mean, with all those other games coming out, it might not necessarily be for BDO though. If that's what you're thinking.
I guess
it might be like Doke V community manager.
You think they're that close on those games? I thought that was just like, this is something that we thought of.
But I mean, how early in the process do they hire community managers? I feel like you usually bring them on pretty early to like, do announcements and that sort of stuff, like years before the games even come out.
Okay, so here's the listings.
Have forums and all that shit.
Somebody in chat just got them. Community manager, live operations specialist, video editor, marketing, public relations. I don't know, mate. Graphic designer.
That sounds like new launches to me, but
streaming content specialist.
Who knows?
I mean, that's kind of sounds like Rand's job too. And maybe they still haven't replaced him.
Yeah, that's true. You should apply.
To manage streamers for Pearl Abyss games? No thanks.
I think you do a great job.
I think I would do a great job too. And I think that I would hate myself.
All right, you guys got anything else you want to talk about?
I feel like there was something else. Like there was other gaming news this week, and I can't remember what it was.
I think I wrote it all down in there. All I saw was like I didn't see the Paladin thing, so that was new for me. We skipped over Ocean having their own karma system. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Wait, isn't that actually kind of important for like the barterers who are getting murdered by pirates, like basically with no consequences?
I mean, I guess that probably happens like once a year. I'm sure it's a good fix or whatever, but who cares?
No, I got nothing else.
I think I'm good.
All right, that was episode 21 of Nerds and Words. Hopefully next time Potion Shop wakes up in time. I want to thank you guys individually and collectively. Borland TV, Misery, thanks for coming through. Biohack, let's do one last run through of everybody. Tell us what you guys got going on for your content on your stream, if you are streaming at all, Miz, or if you just want to pass, that's fine. Biohack, what do you got going on this week, buddy?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a Penturo belt, so clicked it 3 times. I kind of mentioned that at the beginning. Yeah, I usually like have a donation goal, and when we hit the goal, we click it. So so far so good. Doing a lot of enhancing and hopefully finishing this Relooping in the next couple weeks. That's what's going on my stream.
I'm excited for that, man. Miz, how about you, man? You streaming at all?
I kind of just do my thing on the weekends. Sometimes I do like life skilling and stuff, but nothing consistent.
You ever stream Siege? Or no?
I haven't streamed Siege. No, I stopped streaming our organized PvP stuff once we started getting more streamers in. I had like my honeymoon phase when it was just me and 00 2.5 years ago, and I never really committed to it. It's too much effort. You guys have to put in so much work to fucking manage this shit. It's not.
Thank
not
you for
me.
saying that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I empathize and appreciate with you guys.
Orlin, how about you, buddy? What are you up to this week?
The Odalita update will be on the website over the weekend. I've got enough data where I feel pretty comfortable updating that and adding it so we can see which nodes are good. And then once that's ready, we'll probably be looking at a public website release. We're going to continue to add features to the beta, so the beta will continue to be subs only, but the public node tool probably will be ready in the next week or so. So,
nice.
Yeah, so that'll be at moreland.tv when it comes out. And then other than that, I'm still trying to get back into live skilling and probably back into Siege so that I can motivate myself to push gear and shit like that. That's about it.
Let me know if you find a place to go, and I'll let you know if I find a place.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. That is on Spotify and Potion Shop's YouTube, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you guys next time.